So Giovanni Reyna has been officially confirmed and announced by Nottingham Forest. But the question that needs answering is, why did Forest sign him? Welcome to everything you need to know about our newest signing, Gio Reyna, the American Dream. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to this special video on our new number 20, taking over the shirt number from one of our own, Brennan Johnson. And in this video, we'll be answering the very simple, maybe complicated question of why did Nottingham Forest sign Gio Reyna? Coming up, we'll talk to you about his pros, his cons, his strengths, his weaknesses. We'll have some video clips of his gameplay. And just where exactly will he fit in to the Nottingham Forest team? If you're excited about seeing Reyna at the City Ground or at the Windy Stadium in Bournemouth, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Forest Fan TV. And let's jump into this. Okay, so let's kick this off with a quick summary to start with about his strengths. For me, Gio is amazing, and I would say at the peak of his powers is winning free kicks. Now, I've said this before when we initially started scouting him, but I want to go a bit more in depth, that he will win free kicks in dangerous areas of the pitch. I will not be surprised if he ends up being one of the most fouled players in the Premier League, because he's very tight at dribbling the ball. He keeps the ball under close control and has a really good eye for a pass as well. Once he's been fouled, that's where we're going to struggle, because we don't have a dead ball specialist. And Gio is not a dead ball specialist. So don't expect him to be lining him up from 25 yards out. He'll be the guy who gets the free kick. Now, the players he looks up to are the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. When Kevin De Bruyne was at Wolfsburg and Gio was a young buck making his way through the ranks in Germany, that's the player he looks up to. And that's the player he models himself against as well. What a role model to have. Don't forget as well, he comes from a prestige family, a third generation football player, as they say there with the S word in America. His dad, Claudio Reyna, played for Sunderland, for those of you who are old enough to remember. He was at Man City, and I think he played at Rangers as well. Why do I think he played at Rangers? Because Gio was named after Giovanni van Bronckhorst, who was his father's teammate at Rangers. So there's a lot of history in terms of Reyna and football, and his mother as well represented the USA for the women's team. So generation after generation there. And it was always in his blood to end up playing football. And as a young kid, he was very talented. When he joined Bayern Munich, when he joined Dortmund, it was around the same time of Erling Haaland. And Haaland is the one who dubbed him the American Dream after the wrestler Rhodes. So they've had this really good connection. They've been really good friends through the Bundesliga academy as well at Dortmund. And what I like is when you hear about how Dortmund bring these players through, there isn't any of this nicey niceness from the senior players. The senior players, and Gio's on record at saying this, they were harsh on him because they see him as a threat, or any of the academy players coming through as a threat to their livelihood, to their position on the pitch, and therefore they will be strong on them, and the young kids need to come through and prove themselves. This is old school football. There's a reason Dortmund have one of the best academies and the best rates of young players coming through. I think it's because they're very old school in their style. So him and Haaland came through together. And obviously, he had Jadon Sancho ahead of him in that right wing position. Sancho then moved on to Manchester United in the summer of 21. And even in that season before he moved, Reyna was getting a lot of game time. We'll go through his stats in just a second, and I'll talk you through his games, how many assists, goals, etc. he played. Now, there's a lot of strengths. He scores goals as well. But you feel like with him, because he models himself on Kevin De Bruyne, he gets more satisfaction with the assists. So there are a lot of positives on Gio Reyna, but there are some negatives as well. He can be a little bit, what's the best way to describe it? Self-centered and a bit of an attitude on him. You see him potentially have a little jealousy where he wants to make himself be the best player on the team, can sometimes be a little bit selfish as well. There's this whole quote unquote scandal with how his parents blackmailed the USA manager when he wasn't getting game time in the 2022 World Cup. But that really itself has nothing to do with Gio. That was off the back of Claudio, and maybe if you want, we'll do a whole video on that one. That's a story in itself. But also it's about his potential currently. He was meant to be the wonder kid at the age of 18, and a few injuries have held him back. We'll go through his injury record for you as well. Honestly, we've got it all covered for you today. And that's kind of scuffled a little his game time. In fact, over the last couple of seasons, he's probably made more starts from the bench than he has on the actual team sheet on the day. So I think he should probably be a bit further ahead in his progression so far, especially with the hype that was built around him at the age of 18. But his work ethic is good because he had to tailor it on Haaland, who pushed him. The reason Haaland is where he is now is because his work ethic, the way he looks after his body. And Gio again is on record as saying that Haaland would drag him into the gym on days he didn't want to go. He would get him into ice baths when he thought it was too cold. And that kind of thing is kind of ingrained into him now off the back of Haaland. But for me, one of the best things I like about him is his pressing. He presses a bit like Dominguez does. He will work extremely hard on the pitch. And I think maybe you could partner him with Dominguez or have them working on the same side of the pitch, and you could get high turnovers with him. So that's a quick, well, it's actually quite long overview on Gio Reyna. Let's get into some of his clips and talk you through these stats as well. Okay, so let's get into the fun bit and have a look at some clips. And I'm going to talk you through a few things. I'm going to give you one example here of pressing and what I like about him. We'll see it in just a second. Here is, look how high he's pressing and how he wins the ball, because he's a lot stronger than he looks. And then straight away, you find Dortmund in an offensive position, creating a chance, and he should have finished that. And if we move on to his dribbling, this for me is one of his best traits. If you look at when he picks the ball up, he tends to get surrounded by 2 to 3 players, and that doesn't faze him at all. And pretty much on most of these clips, what you're going to notice, look at that, 4 or 5 players around him. Either he gets the ball into a dangerous area, finds a good pass, or he gets fouled. He gets fouled so much because he's a lot stronger than his physique looks. And he's comfortable to take the ball in his own half. He's comfortable taking it in the opponent's half. He's comfortable running with the ball, or he's comfortable taking players on. This is against Man City, against 3 of some of the best midfielders you got there. He still takes them on and is fouled. Just look at the amount of fouls and free kicks he wins. I can't stress that enough to you guys. And if you look at his position, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. I personally think, from all the research I've done on him and from watching him in the Bundesliga and in some USA matches, he probably prefers being in the number 10 position. And I think we're not going to see that unless maybe Nuno's going to look at him as a double 8 with Morgan Gibbs-White potentially, but I think that would make us too light in the midfield. But again, if you're looking at his passes here and his vision, it's those nice delicate touches. It is in some way stepping stones to the way that De Bruyne himself plays. And he's very calm and creates time on the ball. And I think he will work in the Premier League. I'm always, and you guys know me, I've always been quite happy with players coming from the Bundesliga going into the Premier League. I feel that's a step that's very comfortable for a player to make. There are, in my opinion, great similarities between the two leagues. Yes, the Premier League is a harder, more physical league, but the setup is quite similar. So I just want to show you in a second his goals as well. But honestly, the passing is magnificent. It's simple, and that's what I like about it. And he's always looking around him, aware of his surroundings. And there's so many chances he's creating. And you think, if you look at these chances and imagine Taiwo in those finishing positions, we are going to get a lot more chances created. The other thing as well is his crossing is very low. He doesn't tend to cross high. He tends to cross into feet and quite accurately. And then look at these reactions as well. He's the first to react, gets his goal. His finishing is very good. Again, a quick reaction in the box, picks up the second ball and puts it in the back of the net. That one, keeper should be saving that, but it still counts towards the stat. A goal is a goal. Again, reaction time. This I don't like. I'm not a pigeon step fan on penalties, but he is cocky and confident, and that's why he does do it. And overall, that is the highlight reel for me for Gio Reyna. And I think there's a lot that we should like about it. All right, so let's take it over to the best football app on the planet, and that, of course, is SofaScore. So if you guys want this app, you can either just download it on iOS or Android just by clicking on the link that's pinned in the comments, and that helps support us. The app is completely free. Let's get into this. So 1920 was his breakthrough season in the Bundesliga. He played 15 games, started 2 of them, no goals at all. We'll just look at the goals and the assists here, and he managed to get himself 1 assist. That was his first real season. It's the second one where he really kicks on. He played 32 games for Dortmund, started 23 of them, averaging 62 minutes a game, getting himself a team of the week, 4 goals, and assist-wise, he got 5 of them as well. And then if you kick it on to the next season, this is where things start to change. This is where the injuries start to kick in for him. So in this year, the 21-22 season, he was out for a total of 67 days injured in 2 different injuries. The first one was a 40-day injury with a thigh injury. And in the second one, he was out for 27 days from February to mid-March. So that was starting to plague him, hence why his game time was so low. He got 6 starts, still managed 2 goals, and he got himself 1 assist as well. And then if we go to the 22-23 season, so the year just gone, again, he had some injuries, not as much. He was out for 20 days. With a muscle injury that kept him out for 6 days, and then an illness for 14 days as well. But he still started 4 games, had 22 appearances, averaged 28 minutes on the pitch, but scored 7 goals. So his goal return was quite high this year. And in terms of assists, he was able to get 2. And you can see in most of these seasons, if I just go back a bit, we'll have a quick look at the heat map for the one where he was playing a lot. Most of the time he was playing on either of the wings, predominantly on the right wing, but also on the left wing as well. And that tended to be his position at the domestic scene at Dortmund. But still, a lot of people do rate him quite highly as a 10 because of that tight dribbling he can do. So that's the thing that worries me about him, is his injury proneness. If we look at how many games he's played this season for Dortmund, he's only started 1. He's played 11 in total and is only averaging 25 minutes with no goals. And I don't think he's had any assists either. Where's the assist gone? I can't see it with my eyes. Passing wise. So no assists. I've gone blind. I can't see it. Someone check it on SofaScore for me. How many assists did Reyna get in the 23-24 season for Dortmund? Let me know in the comments down below. And when we look at his pentagraph, you can see that creatively is his strongest stat with 65 on his score. And then he's got a low defensive score you would expect for the type of player he is. Okay-ish attacking stats at 58, same with technical. And in terms of tackling, 30. I think he's a better tackler than that because he is quite strong. So those are his stats. What do you guys think about it? And where would you play him on the pitch? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so to wrap it off, why did Forest sign Gio Reyna, as it says just below me here? Because of those extra elements of attack. Nuno's come out so many times and says, we are struggling on numbers in the attacking third in terms of actual bodies that we can put on the pitch. And with Gio Reyna, we get someone who can play right side, left side, down the middle. There's adaptability, but there's also a different element. Now, I wouldn't compare him to Morgan Gibbs-White. Morgan Gibbs-White is quite a free-flowing, creative, stylistic type of player, where Gio he is definitely the building blocks of a Kevin De Bruyne, style-wise. nowhere near him in terms of player on the pitch. But just from those clips I showed you, you can see the way he tightly controls the ball, the way he doesn't care if there's 2 or 3 men on him, which we tend to see a lot of the time in Forest matches. People surrounded by players and they end up losing the ball and the other team attacks. With Gio, what you're more likely to get is a foul and a possession gain to Forest higher up the pitch. So I'm very excited to see how Nuno will play him. We'll have a separate video on how he fits into the team, who maybe he replaces. But one thing that is for sure is that Gio has come to Nottingham Forest because he will have been told he will get game time. He has not left Dortmund to come and sit on Nottingham Forest bench. Now, I say it all the time, no player is guaranteed their starting position in any squad, but there are talks that if you come in and you perform, we will start you. That kind of conversation for me has definitely happened. How do I feel about this signing? I am extremely excited by it. I think he will hit the ground running and hit it quick. He needs to prove himself and he needs to start kicking on to the next stage of his career and carry on that wonder boy, that wonder kid tag into now becoming a man. He is the American dream, as Haaland has nicknamed him. And let's hope that dream does come true at the City Ground. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new to the channel. And let me know what's the thing that excited you the most in that video about Gio. Or was there anything that worries you? We'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.